Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to try something new. We're not even going to talk about bowling whatsoever. Today we're going to talk about hobbies. Now, all of us bowlers, we have stuff we like to do off the lane, some sort of hobby that you might have. And one of the ones that I'm most keen on and is making actually a really serious comeback is baseball cards. So I'm going to get into a little bit about that and show you what might have changed from what you've been used to. Before we get started, just want to remind you guys, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, so you can always catch our content as soon as we put it up. With that being said, let's get started. So, probably the number one thing that I'm into aside from bowling is baseball. Anyone who knows me, that doesn't come as a surprise whatsoever. One of the things that I've kind of gotten back into maybe in the last 5 or 6 years is baseball cards. Now, probably a majority of people that are, watching this channel have probably collected baseball cards when they were a kid, and probably a large majority of them would be, late 80s, early 90s. And first off, I'm going to probably, spit out exactly what you've been waiting to hear if, you ever get on the topic about baseball cards. I'm sure you have, your old stash, super old from the 90s, and you want to know how much they're worth. Basically, probably nothing. The cards in the 90s were so mass produced. I wouldn't even be surprised if they're still making them. That's how bad it is. You can buy like a wax box of cards, from say 91, 92-ish, that area, under $20 a box. And I guess the serious fault with the industry from back in those days is that they just overproduced everything and dropped the value down. Now, I do have a couple of references of some older stuff, and I'm going to explain kind of how things have changed. And if you're, somewhat interested in it, I definitely, I welcome you to take a look into it. It's one of those things. If you're into collecting sports memorabilia, which I am as well, cards are a little bit friendlier of a way to collect. I have a whole bunch of autographed signed jerseys and signed bats as well, and they take up space and they're hard to show off. And baseball cards are kind of like a good way to collect, favorite players or for me in particular, stuff that I might remember as a kid, and they're a little easier to show off. So if you're kind of into sports memorabilia and you really don't like how much space that takes up, maybe this is an avenue for you to look at. So I'm going to start with stuff from back in the 80s. Now, one of the things that I still like to look for are sealed boxes, from the 80s. I'd like to say the 70s, but that stuff is getting so ridiculously expensive that that's just not feasible. So I have two sealed boxes. I have 1983 Topps Baseball and I have 1985 Topps Baseball. So here's the 83. You can look at that. Completely sealed, hasn't been opened. And 1985. Now, the only significance for these, it was definitely a little earlier than when I started collecting, but a lot of the players that I grew up, admiring and enjoyed watching, it's their rookie years. And if you know anything about cards, at all, you'll know that their most valuable cards tend to be their rookie cards. So in 1983, we've got one of my all-time favorites, Tony Gwynn, Ryan Sandberg as well, for any of the Cubs fans out there, and Wade Boggs, and that makes that set fairly desirable. 1985 is more, I guess you could call the steroid era. You've got Roger Clemens, Mark McGuire has his what they would call his rookie card. It was a card from when he played on the U.S. Olympic team. Now, I'm going to use two examples from 1983 to kind of show you how things probably have changed from what you were used to. First off, I will show you a Ryan Sandberg rookie card from 1983 Topps. So there's this guy there. This is what we would call raw. Now, if you really look at the card, you know, the big thing back in the day was, you know, as long as it doesn't have any rounded edges or creases in it, you know, it's kind of desirable for you. It was a good condition. Things have really changed on that. They really look at a lot of other factors, edges of the card, the surface, even the centering and how it was cut. A lot of cards in the 80s were cut terribly. 1981 is notorious for being impossible to find a good cut, a centered cut. So if you look again at the Ryan Sandberg card, now it is definitely off center. Let's see if I can get a good look at that for you there. See if you can see how off that is. Now the way the industry has changed and made things, I guess, a little bit more of an investment, I guess you could say, is that they've done what's called grading. Now I have a Tony Gwynn rookie card here, and it's been graded by a company called PSA. So it is sealed in a container or a casing, and they actually grade all those variables. Like I said, the corners, the cut, whether it's on center, the surface of the card, you know, edges, all that. And this one was graded an 8. Now the significance of, you know, the number obviously is the higher the number is, the higher quality it is. Now this being an 8, this card is, you know, probably cost you $30 all day long. Certainly not a large investment, you know, to say the least, especially, you know, as someone like myself. I'm 40 now, and you know, maybe when I was a kid, you know, $30 was a lot of money, and I wouldn't be able to afford a card like that. But I mean, $30 is not a big deal these days. If this Tony Gwynn rookie card were graded a 10, which is the best that you could possibly get, you know, you're talking a card that's worth over $1,000. And obviously, to get a 10 grading is very hard to do, which is why it's worth so much more money. And if you do happen to find, you know, your old stash of cards, and you're flipping through them, and you notice that you have a couple cards that look, you know, centering's bang on, and they, you know, it's your favorite player's rookie card, or, you know, someone that was very desirable back, say, in the 90s or even the 80s and stuff like that, you might really want to look at, you know, the possibility of getting a card like that graded, because it increases the value. Now this Ryan Sandberg I showed you being off-centered, I wouldn't even bother grading something like that, because it would just come back such a horrible grade. It wouldn't increase the value, and obviously to get it graded it's going to cost you money, and it just wouldn't be worth, you know, the investment overall. And I guess, you know, finally I'm going to talk a little bit about how the industry has changed, you know, actually from card collecting on the manufacturer side of things. You know, you probably remember back in the day, you know, they had like Donruss, Topps, Upper Deck, and Fleer. Nowadays, all the sports seem to be exclusive license to, you know, certain companies. So baseball, the only license, you know, product you can get is anything Topps, which, you know, if you haven't seen cards in a long time, you think, well, that kind of sucks. You know, they put out one set, and you know, that's all you get. But nowadays they have so many different sets. They're releasing a new type of baseball card, a new product every few weeks, and they all hit different demographics, if you will. You know, some are you know, like what they call like Series 1, Series 2 is, you know, very low end. You know, you can buy a box for a decent amount of money, but then they get into stuff that's absolutely crazy. And I mean, this will blow your mind. There is a product from Topps for baseball. It's called Transcendent, and the going price for a box or a case is $26,000 US, and you get I know, a variety of different autograph cards and some you know, exclusive cards, if you will. Now, that being said, I do have a card here as an example of how things have changed since you probably have collected, and to show you the technology of the industry and where things have gone. This is from a product from last year called Topps Dynasty. It's like $300 a box. You get one card only in this box, and it's displayed pretty well. It's not like you're not ripping packs open. It's set up a lot nicer in foam. And this is a JD Martinez. Just happened to be the card that I got. Now, things to notice on this card is serial numbered, as they would call it. It's autographed, and it has a piece of his actual game-used baseball jersey that they've cut up. I know that's kind of sacrilege, but that's what they do these days. So I'll show you that card. Not a crazy valuable card. Certainly not. I didn't make money by opening that box in particular, but it's really cool. If you look really close, it is part of the letter on the Red Sox jersey there. Let's see if I can get this centered up for you there. There you go. You'll notice it's also autographed, and where I say it's serial numbered, this version of card, they only made 5 of these of this particular player with that particular image on it, and this is number 5 of 5. So that makes it even more rare. They do have like versions that are what they call 1 of 1s, and they seem to be the most collectible, if you will. For your hockey guys out there, Upper Deck is the product to get now for hockey. It's the only licensed product, and they have a product out called the Cup. They do it every year, and going back, Sidney Crosby's rookie year, or even Connor McDavid's rookie year, this product, the Cup, comes in a tin, and you get basically 6 cards in a pack. And the product is, a pack might be, between $600 and $800. But if you can get the Crosby serial numbered out of 99, or the Connor McDavid serial numbered out of 99, and they're just like this card, they have a piece of the jersey, and they're autographed as well. It would blow your mind to know the value of those cards. Sidney Crosby's Cup rookie card, it's been known to fetch, higher than $80,000 for this card. It's a piece of cardboard, it's crazy. Same with Connor McDavid, he's like it was the next big thing, and yeah, I mean, pretty comparable numbers in terms of price. It's crazy to think that you could, pay $600 to $800 for a box of these cards, and and put a kid through college. But that's the reality of it. There are a lot of richer people who are, like, they were big collectors when they were kids, and now they make good money, and they have a lot of disposable income, and they throw money at this stuff like you wouldn't believe. And like I said, I really think this kind of hobby is really making a big push to come back, and for a lot of the reasons, like I said before, it doesn't take up a lot of space. It is something that isn't incredibly expensive compared to some of the stuff. If you're looking for a full game used jersey from somebody, you might be paying well over $1,000 to $5,000 for a game used jersey. Get a piece of the jersey, a little easier to display. Maybe with the person's autograph on it as well, you might be paying $100 for a card, and it's just easier to kind of, keep safe, I guess, basically, or just be able to show it off well. So anyway, that's just a little look into one of my hobbies. I promise you the next video that comes up in a few days will be actually a bowling video, and like I said before, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and we're going to keep putting some more stuff out there for you to watch.